Good morning, Ben.
Morning.
Wondering, as you evaluated yourself, you were critical of your play or some of the aspects of your play on Sunday, just what you saw on tape.
Yeah, going back and reviewing, I felt from week 1 to week 2, my pocket presence and awareness was better. I do feel that I got a little lazy with my feet, which then in turn translated to a lazy arm. And so there were some throws that I kind of dropped my elbow, if you will. I don't get too technical, but became more of a 3/4 release instead of an over the top when I didn't need to. There's obviously times you have to change your release point. There were too many throws that I felt looking back that I just got to get my feet working better, and that'll then translate hopefully to the rest of the body, and then I won't be guiding some of the throws. That's to me the biggest thing is I'm going to work on today, even though it's an off day. I'm going to really work my feet and kind of starting it there with translating the rest of my body.
Joe Rudder. And is Vance also one of those guys you want to get more involved in, and why haven't the targets been there for him so far?
Yeah, I mean, both tight ends, I think people are keeping a close eye on. And like I said, we just haven't really hit our stride offensively yet, where we've done a ton of no huddle. I think they get involved a lot in the no huddle stuff. And so we haven't done a ton of that yet. I also think there's been some plays that have been called for those guys that have just been covered. And so none of us are panicked. We know how special both our tight ends are, and they make the big plays when we need them. I thought, going back to Ebron, I thought he made a big play down the middle of the field. He ended up being kind of came back to him and went up high and made a great catch. So, guys, they're gonna get their balls and their touchdowns, I'm sure.
Mike Pursuta.
And you talked about trust after the game Sunday as well. Trusting yourself, trusting your guys. I wonder, how do you work on that other than just telling yourself to do it?
I've been doing this a long time, Mike, and I think that's going to be the biggest thing is I just have to tell myself to do it. And I want to reemphasize that it's nothing that the guys are doing wrong. It's just me trusting my arm, trusting the throw, trusting that I can make it because they're in the right spots. And so I'm thankful for them that they're there. I talked to Diontae this morning about it, that, tomorrow when we both practice, we need to, I need to keep working. I was making sure that he was practicing tomorrow. It's going to be full speed and everything like that because we just got to keep working. And it boils down to me needing to be better and trusting myself, which then translates into trusting everyone else.
Aditi, go ahead.
Ben, when you talk about trusting yourself, how much of that plays into the injury, to being hurt? How much of that is just the layoff? And how much did you actually retool? I don't, to be perfectly honest, I don't know that I've ever heard you talk about your footwork so specifically in 8 years.
Well, I've gotten away with it in the past, being able to not necessarily be perfect from the ground up and just letting my arm kind of make up for a lot of things. A lot of imperfections if you talk to kind of quarterback people, and whether it's the layoff, whether it's the surgery, like I said, I feel great. So I just need to get it in my mind that I can still make the throws when I'm not in perfect position to make them. And maybe some of that comes with just, not playing a lot of football. I mean, I've played 2 games this year. I played a game and a half last year. So really it's 3.5 games in 2 years, if you think about it. So, it'll come. Like I said, if I'm having these issues and we're still winning football games, then that's a plus.
Ray Fittipaldo.
Ben, you've talked about wanting to come back to play with this defense. I'm wondering, in your mind, what is the perfect offense to complement this defense, and how do you guys work towards that over the coming weeks and coming months ahead?
Well, we always talk about being there for each other. The defense was there for us this week when we needed them to be, and it probably won't be the last time. There's going to be weeks when offensively we struggle, whether that's because we're just not playing well or because the defense is stopping us. And we're going to need our defense to step up and make plays for us. And there's going to be weeks where the defense may be struggling, maybe because they're playing a really good offense or whatever it is, and the offense has to step up. That's what makes teams special, is they step up for each other, they complement each other. And so when you've got a defense like ours, the biggest thing is that turning the ball over is a killer, right? You punting isn't a bad thing when you got a defense like this. The other blade of that sword is that you can kind of get a little more creative and you can, take some more chances, because if you do turn it over, you trust them to stop them. And so they've done that well for us last week, especially when we turned it over. They made stops. And so it just allows you to trust them more.
Dale Lawley.
Ben, we're talking about the tight ends and we're talking about the, some of the receivers here. Everybody wants you to also run the ball more. There's only so many plays in a game. How as a quarterback do you kind of, measure this all out to make sure all the mouths are getting fed?
You look at the win-loss column, truthfully. I know that's probably not the answer you're looking for, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who's getting the ball. It doesn't matter how many times we're running or throwing it. It doesn't matter who's getting their stats. It's just a matter of if the team is getting that one stat that's most important, and that's a win.
Will Graves.
Ben, it's, sort of ironic. You mentioned only 3 games in the last 2 years, but on Sunday it'll be your 221st, which Birchie's notes tell me are the most in franchise history, moving past Mike Webster. I'm just sort of curious. I know you're a team guy, but what do you attribute that longevity to? And, considering the physical beating that you took, especially earlier in your career, did you ever think you'd be playing this long?
I attribute it to Jesus and really just being blessed. I am so thankful to be in the black and gold, and 17 years later. I mean, almost half my life I've been here giving Steeler fans everything I have. And I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I wouldn't want to do it for any other team or any other fans. I've been blessed to be around a lot of great football players and talent and teammates. And, I did take a lot of beating early on. A lot of that was my fault. But God made me a bigger man than most quarterbacks, so I think I could take it. And I'm just enjoying playing this game.
Brooke Pryor.
Hey, Ben, when you look at Chase Claypool in terms of his development and where he is as a receiver just 2 games into his NFL career, is he where you would expect a rookie to be, or is he even more advanced maybe than you would expect to see a guy who also didn't have a preseason and didn't have the normal offseason that a rookie would get?
Yeah, I think he's doing really well considering, like you say, he's a rookie with no preseason. We got to see early on, though, that he was going to have that success, or we believed he was, because even in the OTAs and mini camps, and when we were throwing at Robert Morris in the offseason, you could just see that he was a guy that already knew what he was doing and already had an understanding of the offense. I've said it numerous times. He'll make a mistake, but it won't be more than, he won't do it 2 times. And so, we're just really happy with his progress and hope that he keeps growing.
Time for 2 quick more. Alan Saunders.
Hey, Ben, only 2 games, but you're 58% pass. 2 years ago, you were 66%. Did you think this was going to be a more balanced team this year, or is that just sort of the way things have played out with you guys being ahead late a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's just the way the games have played out. We don't go into any game saying, okay, here's our percentage of run pass. We go into a game trying to win it. And I've just been happy at the end of games we've been able to utilize the 4-minute offense both games. I think that's something that we take pride in, because when we say we have to run the ball, it doesn't mean we have to run it more. We have to run it more effectively. And running it in the 4-minute offense is effective running.
Last one, Jenna Harner, go ahead.
And for you guys as an offense as a whole this week, what's the biggest area of focus against the Texans?
Well, it's not going to be easy. I think for them, it starts up front with their pass rush, with Watt and everyone else. And they get after the quarterback, and they don't have to blitz a lot. They can do it with 4 guys because they're really special. And then with that pass rush creates issues that you have to try and find windows that they've got some ball hawking secondary guys. And so this defense is really, really good. I mean, they played 2 really good offenses, arguably the 2 best offenses in the league. And so we're really going to have our hands full this week, and we're going to have to just try and be as successful as we can.
All right, thanks.